This is the download from Sounds Profitable, your daily source for the essential news in the business of podcasting. I'm Gavin Gaddis. Here's what you need to know for today, Monday, December 8th, besides the fact this episode's a smidge late because Cloudflare's being weird again. Before I get into the top story, reminder, Sounds Profitable's newest study is coming out in 2 days. The Creators 2025 launches this Wednesday, December 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will experience a live presentation by Tom Webster. You can register now to be one of the first to receive the full report, even if you can't make it to the live webinar, and we'll be uploading the webinar video after the fact. This includes looks into who's making podcasts, why they do it, and what friction points are causing a third of them to leave podcasting. First up, Talkhouse appoints Laura Mayer as head of podcasts. Mayer, creator of Shameless Acquisition Target, which you might remember, and former executive producer at ABC News, is now head of podcasts at production company Talkhouse. Home to series like Subway Takes, How Long Gone, and Fela Kuti, Fear No Man, Talkhouse's podcast division under Mayer will focus on growing their video productions in balance with their audio-only narrative productions, a genre Mayer has spoken out about earlier this year, and I have linked to, and chatcasts. Up next, Australia's CRA members capture 33% of Australia's digital audio market. According to a recently released IAB Australia Internet Advertising Revenue Report, the data shows that CRA, commercial radio and audio, and members thereof hold 33% of $82 million AUD digital audio market. In addition, their Q3 revenue report shows digital audio grew 12.1% year over year to $26.7 million AUD. Next up, Alex Cooper, Amy Poehler, Smartless among first Golden Globes Best Podcast nominees. This is a Variety article covering the 6 nominees for the first edition of Best Podcast at the Golden Globes in 2026. The nominees are Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard, Call Her Daddy, Good Hang with Amy Poehler, The Mel Robbins Podcast, Smartless, and Up First. The 6 nominees were chosen from a list of 25 potential candidates. Todd Spangler notes that despite his continued chart topping, Joe Rogan and a handful of conservative podcasters who were in the pre-approved list of 25 podcasts are absent. As the official rules I covered back in October state, the Globe should have contacted all 25 podcasts and offered them the opportunity to pay admission fees and formally enter. Then the Globe's voters would decide on the final crop of nominees from those entrants. As of this writing, there's no formal reporting on which of these non-nominee podcasts actually tried to get nominated versus those who qualified but chose not to pay to enter the running. Speaking of awards, Apple Podcasts names The Rest is History the 2025 Show of the Year. Along with the award, Apple has also published an interview with hosts Dominic Sandbrook and Tom Holland on their approach to teaching history and their experiences making the show. And for our final top story, as big brands flood the podcast ad space, startups are redefining strategies to stand out. A look at the current state of podcast advertising from the perspective of a small to mid-sized startup brand looking to get into our field, just as huge brands have taken up some of the table. Some startups take big swings before dialing in how their podcast ad strategy works best, such as queer sex-focused brand Asset, which dumped $60,000 on a campaign that ran on 2 sizable drag queen-hosted podcasts. A move that sounded like a slam dunk on paper until the sheer size of The Bold and the Beautiful entered the equation as larger brands had already bought out premium early mid-roll spots, pushing Asset to the last ad spot of some episodes. While podcast advertising works and works well, education is also important. If new startups aren't made aware of the value of targeting niche shows over longer periods of time, they're more likely to stumble into a situation like Assets. As for the rest of the news, Triton Digital's Omni Studio has announced a new video podcast production tool on top of their existing audio capabilities, including open distribution support. Canadian True Crime is celebrating 200 episodes with a special 4-part miniseries revisiting the case of serial killer Robert Pickton. AudioStack has announced their new Fast Track webinar series early next year about AI audio, kicking off with the new frontier for omnichannel marketing on Tuesday, January 20th. PRX and Audio UK have announced Podcast Creator Summit 2026, set for Friday, February 6th at Battersea Power Station in London. Editor note, it's an incredibly cool venue, but I am a big history nerd. The Media Leader has a piece about the process of merging Audioboom and Adalicious, interviewing Audioboom Vice President International Craig Eastwood. True Native Media has announced Melanie Margolin and Nancy Camarao as their two newest account executives, and Zeno Media has announced they partner with Nahum Segal Network as their end-to-end platform partner for broadcasting, podcasting, and digital. As usual, you can find everything I just talked about by clicking the link in your show notes to take you to today's episode post on soundsprofitable.com that has every link I've talked to. And you can also subscribe to the newsletter version of the download to get all these links emailed directly to you every weekday. For Sounds Profitable, I'm Gavin Gaddis. The download is written and produced by Brian Barletta, Tom Webster, and myself. And as usual, you can download us again tomorrow.